everybody, and welcome to another exciting, fun-filled, expeditious episode of Radiorama, where, as the name possibly suggests and entails, I try to show you how to work on radios, at least mostly, but sometimes I'll work on just whatever I think might be fascinating, and this Gilfillan Brothers radio was donated to us a while back. Community thrift store, $30. I guess they wanted you to know that it was definitely $30 because it's on there twice. This was a California brand. Out here, we were so far away from the rest of the country back then as far as population that it was probably made sense to have regional manufacturers. So there was a couple of California brands. There was a Gilfillan, Rimler. Of course, there was Packard Bell. Anyhow, it looks like this has a power transformer in there, which is nice. It has a 1, 2, 3. It's a 5-tube set, so it's probably nothing amazing. At this age, I'm just going to assume it probably does not work unless someone's replaced maybe the electrolytics. And since it has a power transformer, I'm going to bring it up slowly. It's got some dates. 1056, I'm guessing that's 1956. 8/21/48, 9/25/58. So if that indicates when it was worked on, then it's been a long time. I wonder if it's model number 243. So it just fell out of my lap. You know what? I was looking for that. I don't know how that happened. That landed in my lap. There, I'll lose it again. So let's bring it up slowly and see what happens. Alright, so I brought it up about 50%. It's drawing something, so that means that the transformer at least is drawing stuff. I can't see if this has... Oh, there's a pilot light up there. You can just kind of see it. Up here. 6SA7. It's not on enough for me to tell. Alright, let me bring it up just a little bit more.
Are you nostalgic for the 90s?
Oh, I'll be darned.
Persuaded and turned away many people.
Alright, I'm turning that off. It kind of works, but that loud hum, and I'm sorry about the awful camera work. What's your filter caps? No biggie. I don't know what to do about these. Whatever that plastic does not look good. I'll try to soak them, see if I can brighten them up a little bit. Well, this thing looks like it's been in a barn. Or at least somewhere. I don't know. It's covered in detritus. I think it's been out of service a real long time. Let's see, what does this say here? Ground not essential but may improve reception. Ground recommended. It's like probably got a rectifier output tube, and yeah, it's just an old AA5. Jesus, look at all that. Filthy. Well, first thing I'm going to do is fix this dial string, because that's come off. Let's see what else is in here. Well, looks like that probably that electrolytic's been replaced. All these black capacitors, those are definitely 50s era capacitors. It is really filthy. I think I might take it out and clean it up first before I do anything on it. Now, this is what I do when I clean these guys up. I just come in here with a really long, wiggly, let's make that up, stupid word. Anyway, wiggly paintbrush. And come in here and just gently get the loose stuff off. It seems like actually it looked horrible, but the metal's pretty clean underneath there. So maybe I'll just go ahead and get my leaf blower and I'll put it on low. That made a huge difference. God, those buttons look terrible. Looks like broken teeth and a skull that's buried underground or something. Yuck. Anyway, maybe I can bleach those out a little bit. I don't know. It's not a very nice look up there. Maybe I could paint them with something. Or maybe we have some other tab type things we can put on them. I don't know. Like I said, this is a California brand. Made in much smaller volumes than the huge ones out on the East Coast. I'm going to clean this up a little bit more, including underneath there, then I'll bring it back in. It's not a whole lot to do on this thing. We've got two 8 microfarad capacitors at 450 volts. So it looks like red, I'm guessing is positive. Black is negative, blue is positive, yellow is negative. So I'm guessing it's faded really bad. Hopefully it's just chassis ground, but you don't know. Never make that assumption. Sometimes you've got negative and positive voltages, and if you get it wrong, then you will know right away because it'll make very unhappy noises. So I'm going to get this out of here so I can kind of trace the wiring and kind of ascertain what's what. Okay, I did the bare minimum and I replaced the electrolytics. Also put the cord in there because what was in there was crumbly. And what you can do sometimes is if you cut the old wire, I'm not sure you can see that, you can see some of the original color. Why am I not filming this so well? Anyway, you can tell it's blue, so I was able to ascertain which was which. But that's because I'm lazy. All right, here we go. Let me bring up about 50%. Okay, nothing crazy is happening. That's good. Probably need to get my Variac closer to the electronics that I'm working on. It's got no antenna connected.
OPS is over 1,000 again, or it was before today.
That seems to work okay. Just had a little bit of a scare there. Got some dirt in the tuning condenser though.
Thank you.
For him to give me.
Yeah, there's a little bit of dirt right there. So I have to clean the tuning fins out. Well, here is after recappage, and it's important that you get your across the line cap. It's can't remember. I always get the order. It's X2Y1 or Y1X2, one of those. That way, if lightning strikes it, it'll blast open versus fuse. Anyway, keep your leads as short as you possibly can, and also make sure your leads are just molten. Two mistakes that some people who start doing this earlier on is they'll make their leads like really super long, and also they won't make good enough connections. And you've got to make really good connections or you'll have problems. Even if it works seemingly okay, you put it in a box, move it somewhere, like You never know. You just want to make sure. And if you're not sure, you can get your little needle nose pliers and just give stuff a little tug. And just, make sure you spend a little more quality time with the soldering iron on the piece. And if you do this all the time, it's worth investing in a Met-Cal soldering station. This is a inductive system. So you have a tiny little wand. I think it looks like a cigarette holder almost, and you can just touch it to stuff, and it's instant, even if it's a huge glob. And that's really, really what we run into with a lot of these vintage electronics. It's kind of like working on old cars versus modern cars, big clunky things. So now that this is recapped, I'm going to try to clean out the tuning fins, see if I can get that tuning stuff figured out. Okay, so, oh yeah, I also replaced the wiring for the pilot lamp, the wire rather. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clean out the, I'm going to take this off for a minute. Alright, here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this ragged edge of a piece of paperboard, in this case from one of those microwave meals. Just come in here and clean out between the fins. What that's going to do is it's going to remove any sort of possible cat whiskers or debris or maybe corrosion that might be causing these things to stick together or cause interference. And the thing is that you kind of have to do both sides, because there's also like these guys too. Okay. Sorry. Next I'm going to use a brush to kind of make sure that I get it in there real good. Now, don't be afraid to kind of work the bristles down in there. There's only one way to find out if you did a good job, is to plug her up and see if it still works.
कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं या फिर सेम से भी 5102070981 पर आप इन्हें कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं.
/property. That's relevantradio.com.
Bom dia.
800-479-1790. Quantities are limited.
Your nasal spray.
These have to be the world's cleanest tuning condensers, because I spent seriously an hour trying to figure out why it was getting stuck. Like halfway up the dial, it was just like I was losing my signal. I thought, oh, it's got to be cat whiskers. So I cleaned it and I cleaned it and I cleaned it. I'm going to tell you something that also I've come to realize. My wife has been wearing reading glasses for years, and I was telling her, sometimes when I'm looking at this stuff, I have to really get a bright light out, and she's like, have you tried reading glasses? And so I started using them, and it's insane. Like, I can see such amazing detail really up close. So when I did that, I shone my light down on here, and like the third plate in here and then the one in here were just slightly bent. And so it was just brushing up against the other half of the condenser. So now it works well on radio. The other thing is that it's been making this bizarre humming noise, and I talked to some of my friends and also the radio forum guys, and like, it's not a problem. Something is resonating inside of that. Now what I could do is pour polyurethane inside. That might quieten it up a little bit, but I've been running it seriously for hours while I tried to figure out what was wrong with the tuning condenser. So it's not even warm. It's perfectly fine. All right, the next thing I've done is I added a little audio input feature. Now, since this set has a power transformer, we can get away with something like this, because the power transformer helps isolate you electrically from the chassis and also the circuitry of the set, because the transformer provides all the little individual voltages necessary for the tube filaments and the voltage needed for B plus and all that good stuff, versus a hot chassis where you'd have all the tubes strung together and the filament strung together with no transformer, and one way or another the end of the line has to go to the metal chassis, usually through a capacitor, but sometimes not. And that's when you absolutely positively have to use an isolation transformer. But since we're already electrically isolated, we're fine here. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure and put some glue in here so that just kind of holds like that. And then I think I'm going to start doing some reassembly. Oh, the screws that came with this are missing, so I need to find some screws.
I waited up until almost noon. Then I fell asleep in my chair.
All right, well, that's working pretty good on Bluetooth. That is a heavy little radio. All right, let me unplug the Bluetooth.
Stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it.
Phenomenal book.
Greatest of the family, Rosary across America. Thank you, Betsy, our Father who art in heaven.
This thing is insanely sensitive. Like, it really is very sensitive.
I thought I should clean up my act.
Man, it's now or never. You know, I mean, it's like if he's going to have...
You're in a good place. You signed your business up for 5 years ago.
In that kind of environment, and with that being...
To help fathers re-engage in their children's lives.
Yeah, you had the one good year.
También el año pasado fui al...
Anyway, you know what? Like, you can listen to whatever you want on with your music on that Bluetooth device, or you could listen to the radio. It's a good ball game radio. At least they still have that on radio around here. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I know this is kind of a short one, but I just loved the way this looked. It's one of those homely radios. You know, it's like a square radio. It's like a man's radio or a woman's radio. I don't know. Whatever floats your boat. It kind of floated my boat, so I decided to restore it, and I'm glad I did. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Thanks so much for watching. Adios.